Hey everybody, welcome to Model Building Start to Finish. It's John and Dan sitting here, and we continue to work on the Atlas O-Scale feed store. See, I know a little bit about what's happening here. That's blue painter's tape.
Yes.
And you taped on what looks in the camera to be little dots, but they're really surface mount LEDs, aren't they?
Yeah, these are 603 sized warm white surface mount LEDs. And these are going to go into those light fixtures that I got for the outside.
Yes.
Because I want to put those in before I put the ceilings in also.
That makes a lot of sense because your wiring has to go under the ceiling, doesn't it?
Right. Right. Or at least in the same general area. It'd be a lot easier to have this done first. So I like to tape these down because they're really tiny and they tend to move around on you. I start by tinning them, and they also, I don't know if you can see this on camera, but there's a little green mark on the back of these.
I don't think you can see this on camera.
Okay, well, there's a little green mark. It looks like a little T, kind of like this. Well, this part of the T is negative. That's how you tell the negative from the positive.
So it's really a negative sign, isn't it?
It is. So I make sure that I orient them all the same way. If you have to use a magnifying glass to see it, it's worthwhile. But I need 5. I'm going to make 6 just so I have an extra in case something happens. Anyway, I'm going to start off by tinning the little solder pads on them.
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning, you can probably see this, viewers, that he's using a very sharply pointed soldering iron tip. Don't try to do this with that old blobby tip that you have on your soldering iron because it'll just melt the LED.
Yeah, and working quickly is a good thing.
You watching this, you can tell he's done a few of these, right?
A few.
So the pads are all tinned now?
Yeah. For leads, I'm using 36 gauge solderable magnet wire, and the solderable is very important because there's an enamel coating on the wire, and if you don't get the solderable kind, it's really hard to burn it off. The solderable kind will burn the enamel off pretty easily just by holding it against the iron, and then you can use some solder to tin it.
Yeah, seems pretty easy.
Yeah, so I just do this for all the leads, and then I can solder them to the LEDs. So I haven't been able to find this magnet wire in a whole lot of colors, unfortunately. So by my own convention, I like to use red. I have red and green. So I like to use red on the negative lead and green on the positive.
Those are probably the colors I would pick for the same things.
Yeah, I like to use 2 different colors because if you have to run the wires any length, and you can't always see where the LED is, so sometimes you put it in something and then you've got these wires. At least that way you know the polarity or what it should be. Without having to guess or try to use some other way to figure it out.
And considering what a pain in the butt it is to make these things, you want to preserve them, right, without blowing them up or whatever.
Yeah, I should also point out that you can buy these things with leads pre-soldered.
Don't they cost way more, though? I remember you said something about that one.
Usually they do. I have found some occasionally where the price is not too outrageous, but I mean, I can remember, seeing these from model railroad suppliers who typically sell to model railroaders for $3 or $4 a piece.
Oh, geez.
And you can get, 100 of these little LEDs on eBay for like $10.
Yeah.
So it really pays to do it yourself.
Either that or you can start making them and selling them for $3 or $4 a piece.
Yeah, that just seems like a total ripoff to me. I'm sorry. So those LEDs that I just finished wiring up are going to be installed in these light castings. And I drilled out each casting so there's a hole in it so I can put the wires through. And I taped them to some blue tape so I can paint the outsides.
Oh, you're going to prime this, and what color do you think it'll be?
I'm thinking I might just paint them black.
Okay.
I think that'll show up well against the rest of the building. So now these are painted. They'll still be silver colored, unpainted metal on the inside, but that's okay because that'll act kind of like a reflector.
Yeah, it might make the light show up better, huh?
Yeah. So now that I've soldered all of the leads to the LEDs, I've twisted them together just by holding the leads and then spinning the LED around. And that makes a nice little twisted wire. And before I put these in the lamps, I want to make sure they're insulated on the back. So I have some liquid electrical tape.
I remember this stuff. It smells horrible.
Yeah, it does smell pretty bad, but I'm just putting a little blob of that on the back to make sure that they're not going to short out against those metal lights.
Yeah.
I didn't mention this before, but I'd also turned the LED so that it's pointing away from the wire.
Oh, right, because you want it to face down toward the ground?
Right, so now what I need to do is thread this through the lamp shade, one of them. And like I said before, I'd already drilled a hole through these. So I just got to get those wires through it.
Seems like it's harder than it looks.
Yeah, there it goes. And the idea is it'll just fit down in there like that.
Yeah, that looks like it should light up nice.
Yeah, so I'm going to use some canopy glue to secure that. And I need to just do this with all the rest of the lights. I found this very, very tiny brass tubing from Special Shapes. And I'm not sure what the size is, but it's about the smallest tubing you can get. And I was able to get those 2 magnet wires through it and then thread a piece, or just not thread it, but push it into the top of the light fixture. And for the 3 fixtures that are going to be hanging from the rafters above the loading dock, this should work, and this will push into the hole that I drilled in those supports.
Yeah, boy, it's a good thing you had that tube, huh?
Yeah, so this will be really neat looking because you can't see the wires at all. So for the light over the personnel door and the trackside sliding door, I want to curve the brass pieces. I cut these a little longer, and what I'm going to do is use a screwdriver handle, or in this case a little hex driver handle, as a thing to help bend the tubing.
Yeah, well, what do you call that? It's a curved surface to bend the tube.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway.
there it goes, yeah.
Yeah, because it has wires in it, it's not kinking.
Yeah, because I would expect that just to kink right up like a hose.
Yeah.
And just bend, you know?
But it just takes a little while to work it, but I want to work it down to about a 90-degree angle. Something. Well, that might be a little too far, but
You can
anyway.
bend it back, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that looks really good. So we ended up with a bonus light there, huh?
Yeah, well, since I had 6 light castings and I made that extra LED, I wasn't originally going to use it, but then I thought, well, maybe I should. So I stuck another light on the end of the building here.
Yeah, and I can see the one over the door over here. That looks really good.
Yeah. I also introduced a second bend in those lights that stick out from the wall. Because because I thought it looked better, and 2, to help raise them up a little so they don't hang so low.
Yeah, I remember when you put the first one on the front there. Why don't you turn it? We can look at it. When you put this one on here, I think I suggested that it should be moved up because it looked like it was going to hit the door if the door would swing out.
Yeah.
And then I thought, doors open in usually.
Yeah.
But then I thought maybe a tall guy works there and he might hit his head on it.
Yeah. So, and these, I ended up only needing one of those little holes that I drilled in the top of here.
Oh, because the wires were small enough, huh?
The wires are small enough, yeah. So I ran the wires up here and then across and into that other hole that I drilled. So now it's just a matter of putting those ceilings in and connecting all the wires.
The wiring looks like a mess, but it's not really that complex. It's just running the light wires, tying the ones together that are going to come on at the same time, basically, and running them into a place where they can come out of the building to be hooked up to a layout, right? I mean,
right.
It's not that complex. It only looks like spaghetti.
Yeah. So I have the building wired with 3 separate circuits. There's the main part of the building interior.
Oh, yeah. There it goes. It's a little bit dim, but it looks pretty good.
Yeah. Well, the LEDs are very directional, so if I can think of a way to maybe diffuse the light, it might look a little better.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. I don't think a structure necessarily has to be blazing bright.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it looks bad. It just looks kind of dim.
Yeah.
But hold on a second though. If I were out somewhere at night and I saw this warehouse, it's plausible. It just is kind of. It wouldn't be very fun to work in if someone was working at night like that. But
maybe it's just a night light for the security guard.
Yeah, because after all, what feed store stays open till midnight, right?
Right. Okay, so then I have the interior light in the office.
Yeah, that's good. That looks good too. It looks a little brighter to me, and it might be just because the ceiling is lower, right?
Yeah, I think that might be part of it. Also, I think the blinds are actually catching some of the light and refracting it a bit. And then last, I have the exterior lights.
Yeah, this looks really good. This is the prize-winning part.
Yeah.
For me, anyway.
Yeah.
Looks nice. There it is from the other side now, right?
Yeah. So not as many outside lights, but I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah. It's definitely a believable look. And I think that the LEDs scaled down, the light from the LEDs scaled down believably.
Yeah, and the shades actually are being lampshades. They're actually casting shadows like real lampshades would, which I think is cool.
And they're directing the light from the LEDs outward the way you would expect to see. So this is good. I mean, a lot of times I'll see buildings like this with LEDs, and the LEDs are just way too bright.
Yeah.
And this is not like that. And I think probably because of the resistors you used.
Yeah.
By the way, what resistors did you use? I don't know if we talked about that.
So I used 1.5 k ohm resistors on the inside lights and 1 k ohm resistors on the outside lights.
On this side, I'm not seeing the lights coming out of the warehouse part. So
yeah, they're on. It's just like I said, I think I need to diffuse them or something.
Yeah, maybe some adjustment to the ones in there. So maybe we can revisit that, or you can look at it and figure out a way to make it better, and we'll talk about it in the next episode.
Yeah.
This is really what we were trying to get accomplished on this episode, right?
Right. So I think this is probably a good place to stop for now.
Okay.
And we'll pick it up next time and work on the roof and the details.
Well, I guess we'll see everybody on the next episode.
Bye.